Pita bread varies from country to country, from the Mediterranean to the Middle East. While they all have simple ingredients and are round and flat, some have pockets that hold meat and veggies, while others are folded like a taco. My recipe only has 4 ingredients and water. It is designed to create pockets and resembles the traditional Lebanese and Syrian pita bread versions. Pita bread is thought to have been around for over 4,000 years. While exact origins are unknown, pita likely came from the Bedouin or Amorite nomadic people from the Middle East. Through nomadic travel, pitas were shared with various settlements and farming communities, thus becoming a staple for many. Now they are beloved around the world. For my Middle Eastern pita bread recipe, you only need yeast, sugar, all-purpose flour, salt, and water. Since this is a yeast bread, let's begin by activating the yeast. So in a small bowl, you want to add 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast, which is 1 package. And then to that, we're going to whisk in 1 tablespoon of sugar, which is 12 grams. For the whole recipe, you're going to need 1 cup of water, which is 8 ounces. But from that, we're going to take 1/4 cup, which is about 2 ounces. And it needs to be warm water that's been heated to between 100 and 110 degrees, and that's just 30 seconds in the microwave for me. And then we're just going to pour into our yeast and sugar mixture, and we're going to whisk it and allow this to dissolve. It should activate and become bubbly and frothy in about 10 minutes, so we'll just set it aside. While you can certainly mix and knead this dough by hand, I like to use my stand mixer. So in a bowl with stand mixer or a large bowl, we're going to sift in 360 grams of flour, and that is 3 cups, but it's fluffed, scooped, and leveled off if you're using a measuring cup. And then to that, we're going to add 1 1/2 teaspoons, which is 9 grams of salt. We're going to sift both of these in our large bowl. So let's just give them a quick whisk just to make sure that they are mixed up. Okay, notice our yeast mixture is nice and bubbly and frothy, so that means it's activated. If your yeast mixture did not do that in the 10 minutes that you've given it, then that means it's old and it should be thrown out. You should start over from scratch. Now, turn your machine on low, and you're going to pour in that activated yeast mixture. If you're doing this by hand, you'll just pour the yeast mixture in. Don't worry about stirring it just yet. We're going to pour the remaining water. Remember the 8 ounces from which we took 1/4 cup to activate the yeast. We're going to now slowly pour in the remaining water. It should be warm. It should be between that 100 and 110 degrees. Again, heated in the microwave for 30 seconds is just perfect for me. So you're going to knead the dough. If you're doing this by hand, you'll just knead on a floured surface. If using your machine, you're going to knead for 8 to 10 minutes. If by hand, you're going to knead for 10 minutes. Increase the speed to medium. Add more flour or water, 1 tablespoon at a time as needed. So what you're looking for is a dough that pulls away from the bowl edges. It should be a smooth ball. It shouldn't be dry or sticky. Our dough is done kneading. I ended up adding 1 more tablespoon of water, and noticed it's not sticky, but it's not dry. It's got that tacky feel, and that's just perfect. So go ahead and remove it from your dough hook to the bottom of your bowl. With your dough at the bottom of the bowl, you want to just grease it a little bit. You could use cooking spray, whatever you have. And this just keeps the dough smooth, and it keeps it from drying out and creating any kind of a crust as it's rising. So then cover it with plastic wrap and or a towel, and you're going to set it aside in a warm area for it to double. It'll take 1 to 2 hours. Go ahead and place a baking tray with foil on it in the oven, and then preheat your oven to 500 degrees. This heat from the oven creates steam, causing the signature pockets in each pita round. It travels through the gluten fibers and gas from the yeast, causing the dough to separate, which is how we get those big, high, ball-shaped pita while they're heating. Okay, our dough has risen, doubled in size. Place the dough on a lightly floured surface. And this is a nice soft dough. We're going to divide this dough into 8 equal pieces. So you can eyeball the cuts, you can weigh them. Each piece should be between 81 and 82 grams. So if you wanted, you could rough cut first, cut it in half, and then we're going to get 4 out of each side. And if you wanted to weigh it, then you could start out doing a rough cut and then add and take away dough as you need to. We want to shape them into smooth balls so we get a nice flat round pita. And the easiest way I've found to do that is clear off a space on your work surface. We want to remove the flour because we want the surface to have friction. And then taking one of your 8 rounds and then just cup your hand like so, place it behind the dough, and then move your hand forward. And as you do, you'll notice that the dough is moving, stretching out along the surface, creating that smooth round. To get that smooth surface all around the dough ball, you just continue to roll until you're happy with the round, smooth surface all around your dough. And then you'll do this for all 8. You can put a little bit of flour on your hand if that helps to keep the dough from sticking to your hand. This is the same technique I use when I make my flour tortillas. If you find that you're having too many creases and you're not getting smooth, round balls, it might be that you need to start with a smoother round ball. So notice, look at all these little creases and folds that I have. If you just kind of tuck them all in and get mostly a smooth ball around, except for this very end here, then when you go to create that smoothness, you have less that you actually have to smooth out. And it just tightens up that little crease on the back. Cover the dough rounds with a towel and allow them to rest for 10 minutes. Okay, so now we're going to begin rolling them out one at a time. They've actually gotten a little bit bigger since we let them sit here for a few minutes. So you want to go ahead and flour your surface. You want to flour it pretty well and keep it floured. And we're just going to roll each of these balls out into 1/4 inch thick, which is about 6 to 7 inches in diameter. Ooh, look at those nice little bubbles popping out. All that yeast. And rotate your dough on the floured surface as you roll it out, and that will keep that perfect looking shape. As you're rolling, if you find that the dough retracts, you can always stop, give it a few minutes to get used to its new shape, and then continue rolling it again. And we're going to do this for all 8. Okay, that's the size you're looking for each pita. Okay, after shaping your dough balls into flatbreads, go ahead and remove your hot pan from the oven. Might knock some of that flour off of each pita. Place each one on the cookie sheet with the foil, and they should be a couple of inches separating, and I can only get 2 on one sheet, so that's what we're going to bake at a time. Let these bake 3 to 4 minutes. Create an assembly line and start preparing the other 2 and flatten them out. Look at that signature traditional Syrian puff ball. It's perfect for the pocket that we can put our meat and veggies in. Okay, go ahead and use tongs and flip each of the pita over, and we're going to place them back in the oven for another 2 to 3 minutes. They're starting to get a little brown on the one side, and we want to give them a little brown on the back side. I love that signature rise. Let's check out both sides. Again, they're going to deflate as they sit. A little bit of browning. It's good. We're going to place them on a foil-lined plate. They will deflate as they sit. And then I'm going to cover it with foil, the top one, and that'll keep them warm until we're ready to eat them. And in the meantime, we're going to continue to cook and roll out the remaining dough. We're going to bake for another 3 to 4 minutes. Flip them over and then bake for 2 minutes, and then they'll be done. Here, our last 2 pita are coming out of the oven. Notice our beautiful stack of pita we have going on over there. We're going to add these last 2. Notice they're nice little brown around them. Take a look at our nice stack of pita bread. They are ready to eat. So let's take a look at the inside of it. Let's give it a little tear. Look at that. So you have a pocket for all your fillings, and it's not very thick. Got a nice little crust on the outside, not much, and it'll soften up as it sits. The side that we didn't leave in the oven quite as long is a little bit softer, but it did get a little bit of brown on it. So this is definitely what a Syrian or Lebanese pita would look like. It's got that nice little pocket to fill with whatever you would like. Enjoy pita bread with hummus or dips like the traditional eggplant dip called baba ganoush. Serve it with tzatziki sauce as a sandwich bread or wrap with shawarma meat like lamb, beef, or chicken. Stuff it with veggies, rice, tabbouleh, or falafels. Don't knock me, but I have even eaten this with PB&J. Yes, it works wonderfully with everything and anything. Thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing. I appreciate the support from each of you more than you know. Until next time, go bake the world.